PSGL, George Horgan here and Jack Canat. All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go!
Contact between the Mercedes teammates.
Denoso with a crafty maneuver up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count out Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Foreman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to PSGL. It's been a good season thus far, but we are headed over to Silverstone this evening for the 7th round. My name is, of course, Ben Satsford, aka Sappytron, and join us in the commentary box as always. It's going to be Omi. How you doing, my friend?
Really looking forward to it.
They're really looking forward to it as well. And so I do apologise for the brief technical issues. Just testing a couple of new things in the background as always. Using F3 is a little bit of a breeding ground for some new tech. But we are headed, of course, to Silverstone tonight. It's going to be a good one. It's, of course, a track steeped in history. We'll spare you the tale, so we'll get to the good bit. It's 18 corners. It's 5.9 kilometers. It's an iconic circuit that has earned its name among the racing and motor states. What do you feel about this circuit, Omi? Personally, I'm, as you can tell, 1, British, 2, a big fan.
British bias coming in to play,
Probably.
I see. Yeah, well, same for me over here as well. The home of Formula 1, of course, an extraordinary circuit where we can see overtakes, we can see side by side, we can see battles at every corner of this circuit, which is the amazing thing. So we could have some non-stop action, corner after corner as well. So it's going to be really, really fun coming up. And of course, nailing it over one lap also can be tricky with so many different elements to this place. And finding a very good lap is going to be tricky for the drivers in this field, and especially beating Gabriel Quintino, who has been the master of qualifying this season, taking 4 out of the 6 pole positions this season.
Yeah, and let's, of course, take a look at those standings and see what we are dealing with there. So after a strong showing last round and adding to his pole position total, it's going to be second place for the Aston Martin. Only a single point behind the Haas of Diego Zorzo, who currently holds top honours with 3 podiums to his name. A couple of firsts and a 3rd place. It's closely followed by the rest of the field, however, as Reis Imtiaz is, despite that rough performance out there in Monaco last time, still holding on to 3rd place, still within the podium, and very much in contention. A single point splits those top 3 in between each other, so 56 for the Haas, 55 for the Aston Martin, and 54 for the Ferrari. So that top-end fight for this championship is looking like an absolute blast.
It absolutely is as well. And 7th, 4th, 10th were the first 3 results for Gabriel Quintino. And then, of course, he got himself 2 winning styles in Canada, followed by a 5th in Qatar. Then back to the win in Monaco from pole position as well. And he was a driver that definitely did take a lot from the first 3 rounds and made sure that while he had the brilliant pace in qualifying, he could convert it into the race. We do have a point available for pole in qualifying, but the race is where you score the majority of the points, and he definitely has been able to make a bit more of a mark when it's come to the races in the last few rounds, which is critical, and that is exactly why he is only 1 point away in the championship right now from Diego Zorza, and Reis Imtiaz only also 1 point behind him as well. So we've got a really, really close championship fight at the top of the table.
Well, this is where those drivers look for the hallowed Grand Slam. Of course, point for pole, point for fastest lap, and up to 16 on the table for a first place means that a theoretical 18 points can catapult you up that championship order. Of course, we can see the rest of the field coming in to force, and the rest of the field also looking like they've got quite a few battles of their own. You've got the second Aston of Linus Donovan, for instance, who is neck and neck with Thomas Laminen in 6th and 7th place. However, he's been dealt a bit of a bad hand because out of an incident from Monaco, he's going to be serving a quali ban this time round, and at Silverstone it can play a little bit into the race performance, but I'd argue that the quali isn't as critical as, say, Monaco would be.
Yeah, he's lucky that it wasn't the last time out in Monte Carlo. Yeah, it isn't really as tricky as, of course, it would have been had it been at another circuit. You can make overtakes around this circuit. Of course, you don't really want to put yourself in the position because still, doesn't matter what track we go to, we do have DRS trains, we do have drivers going 3 wide absolutely everywhere, meaning that they can get caught up in certain battles which they don't really want and which can risk their front wing being lost or them getting some sort of damage. So they need to consider all of those factors. So not an ideal position still for Linus Donovan, but around this circuit, we can see a driver go all the way from the back to some very good points.
Yep, and a reminder, folks, of just how deceptively close we are to the end of the season. We've only got 5 more races after this. So you've got Zandvoort and Jeddah Corniche circuit before the festive break, and then you round it off with Japan, another break, and then Vegas and Bahrain to finish. So this sort of halfway point of the season, this is where we're going to really see some of those championship battles start to crystallize, start to really define who is going to be fighting at the top, who's going to be going for those other points finishes, and really see who is going to be in contention for that prestigious Season 38 title. Of course, at this tier, it does mean promotion, and it does mean being seen by some very big names, because remember, you get to F2, that is development driver territory. That is going to be where the real big players are hanging around.
Absolutely, and if you do get it right here, then drivers will absolutely find themselves up to that level. And yeah, we did mention it last time out at Monaco. We mentioned it as well a further 2 weeks before in Qatar, that this part of the season, these rounds at Monaco, Britain, the Netherlands, and Jeddah, this little part of the season is going to go a long way in deciding who's going to be a championship contender this season. It is really a critical part of the campaign for all of the drivers, and they really need to start putting in some great results. So a really crucial part of the season. And yeah, this season is going by incredibly quickly as we're about to get underway for another qualifying session. So we cannot wait for this one to begin. And we have had interesting storylines, whether it be the races, whether it be qualifying, and even off the circuit. So it's all been kicking off this season for F3.
Or whether you are joining us just for qualifying, or you're going to maybe be hopping out. We have got, of course, TK, one of the best commentators we've got here at PSGL, who is currently with F2. You can catch him in an hour, or if you stick with us to the very end of the broadcast here on F3, you'll be able to jump directly over to that. So, of course, don't go anywhere. Slight bias. But while we're loading into the race, of course, let us know who you are keeping an eye on. Who is the driver that you are looking forward to seeing out on that track? Who is going to be the one who you want to see perform at their very best? And as we are getting ourselves fully loaded in here, one thing I have to say I am excited for is the drivers who are not necessarily going to be jumping out of the gate to be, well, 100% in qualifying. I'm looking forward to the drivers who are going to be pushing their luck in the race, who really love to push the strategy and get the race side of things going.
Yeah, and the race side is also very critical. You may have a brilliant qualifying performance, but it all can go wrong in the race. I think Sammy Sibione was a perfect example of it as well when he brilliantly took pole earlier this season in Qatar in brilliant fashion. He was able to take that pole with some great pace, wasn't able to stay at the top though in the race, and found himself very quickly out of the battle. So definitely preparing and getting ready for that race situation, also very, very critical, and that is where the major points, as we've already talked you through, are up for grabs as we take a look at our championship leader, Diego Zorzo, making his way through, and he is about to go attacking around this Silverstone circuit.
Well, he's top of the order in the championship, and he's going to be top of the qualifying queue, first in line, as if it was meant to be, as he heads down the hangar straight, gets those tyres warmed up as much as he can, and then we'll see what he can make of this first lap. So we'll have to, of course, keep an eye on how he handles things like Village and the kind of speed that he's able to carry through the iconic Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel complex before heading into the final sector. Starting the lap now, on board with Zorzo. Let's see what he's capable of here. He's firing his way through the first couple of corners here. You see Linus Donovan taking that quali ban, dipping out, so he is going to be starting in P19. And the rest of the field, it's going to be open season for them. A little bit of a wobble as he makes his way through into Aintree and then down the Wellington Straight to end off the first sector. Looking good for the Haas right now. But, of course, early days, early benchmark, and the track evolution is going to be vital. Easily a couple of tenths that are going to be left on the table. Another wobble there. I think Zorzo's just trying to feel out the limit. Find the edge of the car, find the edge of the track, and really see what potential he has left. I don't doubt the drivers have practiced plenty. Of course, when you get to the race, it's a whole different ball game. Maggots and Beckett's now. Firing it across those inside curbs. Not afraid to get the car a little bit out of sorts. Jumping those inside wheels into the air. And making his way down. It's going to be easily into 8th gear. Easily surpassing 200 miles an hour as you make your way up. Through into Stowe. And the final couple of corners present themselves. Donovan is going to have the engineer. So Timo is going to be in chat. And hello to you there. But we have got Zorzo who jumps into the pits. Wasn't happy with that initial run. We'll see what the rest of the field can do. Harry Lai is going to be jumping in. 0.723. There's going to be 14 milliseconds behind that. Thomas Lamminen, strong qualifier. Danny Van Ruyten, lobby host, and surprise qualifying performance is a 0.454. We know this driver's got some pace, but that is a strong early showing.
Strong pace indeed. A great showing there as the rest of the drivers come across the line. Tulki goes to second place as well as they all make their way over the line. So it's Danny Van Ruyten, then we have Larry Tulki, Ryan Grob, Ray Imtiaz, Harry Lai. Does Elikas come in and disrupt the order? He goes up to 7th position, just ahead of JSD. So an interesting run one there. But yes, Diego's also deciding to back out of the lap. Now, here is the driver who's taken pole 4 times this season. Let's see whether Quintino can get back up to the top. He can right now go to the front row, but he is in the mix with Danny Van Ruyten, and it's going to be an extraordinary fight for the battle for pole between these two, and also other drivers who will be continuing to improve their lap times.
Captain Quali only making P2, but the day is still young here at Silverstone, and there's 13.5 minutes still on the clock, so easily going to have a few more runs in the tank here. Really, it's about the tyres. It's about how many sets of tyres they'll be able to stretch out, and the 25.454 that Van Ruyten has set is a high benchmark to clear. I don't doubt that we'll get into the 0.3s, the 0.2s, as everyone is going to be diving into the pits. But you also have Zorzo, who had an early exit, along with Tristan Derbycourt, making their way round for another go.
Absolutely, and Danny Van Ruyten, we only saw him in one outing this season as well. And it was second place in Canada in a race that had plenty of drama with a late safety car, meaning that, well, he was in the fight all the way from the start to the finish, but had things gone slightly differently, he could have been the winner. So he's absolutely shown the pace, and he was the driver that finished directly behind Quintino when he took that victory. And this is now Diego Zorzo, who described the circuit earlier to us as an okay circuit for him. So he'll be looking to continue to push on, but not excited about the prospect of Zandvoort and Las Vegas that are still yet to come up later this season. And also another thing, I think I remember from last week that he was the driver to lead the runs in Monaco as well. So it looks like he does like going out there and leading everyone around and being the first one to set a lap time for the rest to beat.
Well, I can't fault the strategy. You get out ahead of everyone else, and slipstream or not, it helps to have that clear shot in front of you. You don't get distracted. You don't have the almost variance of the other cars around you. You might misjudge your braking point, paying too much attention to the rest of the field around you. So Derbycourt and Zorzo are going to be making their way out for their inaugural runs here. Hopefully they can keep it in the lines and make this run count here, because they are 1 and 2 of 4 cars who have yet to put something on the board. Tom97 and Booba in both the Red Bulls are also waiting to set a time. And it speaks to me that the drivers are just trying to push the limits right now. They're not going to take anything less than absolute perfection. As we make our way now through Cop's Corner and into the end of Sector 2. Zorzo needs to keep a cool head here. And you can see rocking the car back and forth, almost kicking the rear into a bit of rotation there, as he's going to be pushing the limits, heading into Stowe once again. Now, is this going to be a keeper? We saw what looked to be a good run, but a couple of wobbles ended up in an abandonment from the Haas here. So is this one going to stick? No. Once again, he denies the run on the boards. He's not going to let that one go. He wants that perfect run first time. He will not accept anything less.
Yeah, quite interesting to see. Backed out of it on the first run, understandable. Then he decides to back out of it on the second run as well. So quite interesting right now by Diego Zorzo. Here is Tristan Debecourt to the line as he sets a lap time on the board, and it's good enough right now for 10th position. We also are still yet to see the Red Bulls go on the attack. Here is the first of them being Booba over the line, goes to second place. A good lap time from Booba, and his teammate is also going to try and get on terms and be somewhere near as well. But yes, brilliant stuff from Booba to be up there as we now ride on board with his teammate as he heads towards Stowe.
Well, he's got the consistency down. He didn't get any of the best sectors, but in spite of that, he's 6 milliseconds actually away from Danny Van Ruyten. Still the fastest time here in the session. Tom97 making his way through now and going to see what he can put down on the board. It's a 26-0. It's enough for P14. And everyone bar Zorzo has now got a time on the boards. And the variance of about a second. Of course, there is the anomaly of Justin Ertz, who has got a 126.5. But we have plenty of cars who are now making their way through, who are going to have a chance to make a proper splash here on the board and here on the timings. We've got Leonardo Tonelato making his way down in that Alpine. 10th down. He could put himself a few positions up here. If he can nail that Sector 3, it's going to be something magical. Burning everything he has in the battery. Carving his way through now. Vale Club. Oh, gets, I think, maybe distracted by the kick Sauber that he had in his wake and is unfortunately going to be abandoned from there. Tonelato could have had a major run going. That's unfortunate to see.
Could have had a major run indeed, and well, of course the cars are ghosted, but it's just such a major distraction for the driver ghosting through while they're pushing it all the way to the limit. We described a lot of it last time out in qualifying at Monte Carlo. Right now, Reyes Imtiaz not facing any of that, and it means that he can find an improvement to 4th position as he came over the line just now. 8 minutes to go on the clock, so a good improvement there as Larry Tulki now finds himself moving up to 3rd position, so he also is able to respond. Danny Van Ruten's back out there on the circuit. Here is Elekes, who joins his teammate right now on the 3rd row in P6.
And plenty more to come as we've got, say, Quintino and Imtiaz a single millisecond apart. So really goes to show the margins they're trying to push. But Quintino is on another lap here. And let's stick with him for a little bit as we can see what the Quali King himself is capable of. Heading through down into Sector 1. What's the time he's going to push? It's going to be slightly down on his previous, but maybe he can make it up in Sector 2. You can see just how aggressive he goes from the helicopter shot. How much of those curves he's actually taken. He's got a lot of confidence in the car, hasn't he?
He absolutely does indeed. And the last lap in Monaco where he impressed us all, he was down. He was down by the time that he left the 2nd sector and then found an extraordinary 3rd sector from being down on his own lap to actually going fastest of all as well, taking pole right at the end. Definitely would be one of his best moments of the campaign, and you can see dialing in some of the time lost is now down to 2000, and he'll continue to push it through this 3rd sector that is coming up. So let's see whether he can replicate what he was able to do in Monte Carlo as he heads now down to the braking zone, about to go onto the Hamilton straight, and the line will await him, and let's see what he's going to be able to do. Currently in 4th, can he find an improvement? He lost about 8 milliseconds in that last sector to Contino. Not an improvement of time that time around. He's in P4, and here is Danny Van Rooten up by a 1/10 of a second. Let's see whether he can take it further away from the field over the line. It's a 1 minute 25.394, and he's extended his advantage at the front of the field.
Little bit of a time scrub in Sector 3, but that's not going to stop him from inching his pole position a little bit further forward, and that could make all the difference as we're now heading soon into the final 5 minutes of this qualifying here. We've got a couple of cars who are making their way through. Pasquale Ranelli, for instance, is going to be heading into the pits. As you can see, many others darting to the side or getting themselves set up with their outlaps here. The timing is going to be absolutely crucial to make sure that you have a real fighting shot at getting some quality times down. Uber coming up to the line now, as well as a couple of others starting on their full core laps. And with just under 5.5 minutes to go, we're going to really see, I think, 2 more runs out of these drivers. So you've got the run coming here, and then the final mad dash at about the 2-minute mark, to be able to get round that course in time and really send it with the maximum amount of rubber.
Uber, who's been on the podium once so far this season, and that was in the opening round of the season, as we saw him making his way down to Brooklands. We join the Williams of Justin Ayertz, who will absolutely want to improve on the lap and challenge forward, but he has invalidated this time around, unfortunately, for him, has Justin Ayertz, the F4 champion from last season, now arriving into F3. Definitely hasn't had the season that he would have wanted, as now we take a look at Diego Zorza. Was able to find a lap time for 11, so we saw him on the first and second run not find a lap time on the board. He decided to abandon them all. It was good enough for 12th, as well as we just saw Tristan Debecourt come over the line, improving up to 9th. So still not what Diego Zorza would want as the championship leader.
There's hardly what he wants at this point in time, but it's like we saw earlier, he's not going to accept anything less than absolute perfection. And I think he has kind of backed himself into a corner a bit here by not tanking those, or at least one of those 2 initial runs. Just having something on the board, having some kind of insurance could have gone a long way, I think, to helping the confidence out, as we've got just Tom97 and Tristan Derbecourt remaining on the circuit, and Balentalekis, who is out on a outlap. But here we go, everyone in the pits now, looking to get those cars ready for what will realistically be the final run of the session. Van Rooyen with the best first sector, and then you have Reyes Imtiaz with the best sector 2, and Larry Torquay with the best sector 3. So if you put all those 2 together, if you put those 3 sectors together, you get a 25.2. And I'm expecting at least a couple of drivers in this last shot to get themselves into the low 3s, or maybe even the high 2s. But that remains to be seen, of course, as we've got the first of the final cohort of cars leaving the pit lane, and it is going to be Larry Torquay.
Yep, absolutely. So it's going to be Tulki who will push on. But quickly on Diego Zorza, known of course as a all-round complete driver, so a driver who definitely does decide to do something that isn't really normal, and it definitely does work for him at times. A winner twice this season as well, and with that strategy earlier on that we were of course referencing, of him always wanting to try and go out as early as possible, trying to go out first as possible. Usually in previous seasons we would have had that slight thing that, okay, you could possibly get the slipstream, but with how ghosting's off and how collisions are off as well, ghosting on I should say, it does mean that we of course don't have the slipstream at all, or it would be incredibly overpowered, meaning that you want to be alone on the racetrack, so you don't want any of the games of having a car in front of you. You want to be fully alone on the circuit. You want to be able to have a clean road, and that allows you to push on with no distractions. So definitely a good strategy to have. It's going to be his teammate who will definitely have it right now, with other cars still though coming out onto the circuit, which will not be helpful this time around when he gets his foot down.
I'd be wary for Tulki's sake here, because he's still got a couple of cars who are going to be making their way out of the pits. and it's going to coincide right with his entry, as it looks like that's going to be Balintalekis, who might just pip around at the same time. Nope, manages to beat him there as he starts his lap in full. He's going to have one of the Mercedes out there ahead of him. That is going to be Derbycore, so he'll have to be wary of that. But barring all of those circumstances, let's see what Tilke, first out of the final set, is capable of doing here. He's got a 25.4 to beat, and really, he should be aiming for a low 0.3. He's half a second, or half a tenth of a second, I should say, down in Sector 1. If he can keep this momentum up, he's going to be showing some very fine form indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be encouraged all the way around this incredible motor racing facility as he sees the Delta being green, as he now is about to attack the challenges of Maggots and Beckett, and he's going to send in, doesn't of course want to go over the white lines and invalidate this lap. And we'll see what the second sector time is looking like. Has he been able to find some more time? It's nearly to a tenth of a second. He's got a Mercedes directly ahead of Tristan Debaco, who will be perfectly out of the way. He'll throw it into Stowe, and he will look to continue finding this improvement to try and get him to first position. And let's see whether Laurie Tulke is going to be able to do it as he chases his first pole of PSGL F3 this season. Let's see as he goes on to the Hamilton Straight. Can he get to the front of the field with that lap? Yes, he can, as the checker flag is out now. Tulke to the front of the field. Here is Booba, who has looked extraordinary in this qualifying session so far. Let's see whether he can join. Tulke on the front row can get ahead. No, he's going to be in third as he comes across the line. We also looked at Danny Van Rooten, who has not had the first sector that he would have wanted.
Yeah, it's looking rough around Royton here. I don't think he'll be able to make that challenge he was hoping for. We've got a couple of others making their way. Harry Lai going into third place here. Of course, a 0.392 is a tough act to follow, and he nailed that third sector, Tulke did. Let's see what Quintino can do, though, coming up to the line, seeing what he's capable. Can he throw it around and keep the leash on that AMR? Let's find out. Coming up to the line, it's a 0.373. Wow. What a run from there. It's the finest of margins, but it's enough, and that's all he needs. Reis Imtiaz, our fellow championship rival, is only going to manage P7 as Diego Zorza comes across the line with a 0.392. It's identical to his teammate. He's got the exact same down to the millisecond. I don't think you could get a stronger team performance than that in qualifying. It's simply not possible. But what a run we have seen from some of the field as they've been flying through in a flurry. Unfortunately, a couple weren't able to get across the line in time, so Balintalekis, one of the drivers who departed a bit late and didn't make it through. Derbycore coming up to the line, no improvement from them, unfortunately, and with Tilke on the cooldown, it is Quintino who takes top honours and makes it a 5th pole position out of 7 here at PSGL, and making a strong contention for, I think, the best qualifying performance in a single season in PSGL history thus far.
Oh my word, he continues to deliver performances to remember, does Gabriel Quintino as well. Absolutely extraordinary stuff once again in qualifying. And yes, when we go to qualifying, it's always the question, can anyone beat this man? And most of the time, the answer is no. But Haas's, same livery, same time on the circuit, and we're going to have a really, really interesting race coming up, and that's where it's been close all throughout this campaign as well. And a crucial lap for Diego Zorzo, who was able to find it right at the end for a place in third position. A great performance also by Harry Lai. We have to also give him a little bit of a shout out as well, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in the race. The driver that's currently 25th in the standings and is one of our reserve drivers. But here is the full classification, and look at those margins.
You can see 19 milliseconds splitting the top 3 and 0 splitting second and third. The Haas is putting a major play in for Team Synergy, followed by Ron Royton, Harry Lai, Bubar, Reis Imtiaz, Thomas Laminen, JST, and Ryan Grob making your top 10. Followed by Tonelato in P11. Balintalekis not getting the timeout into P12 though, and Derbycore, Simeone, Renali, Neeb, Tom97, Justin Ertz, and then Leonard Donovan is going to be serving a quali ban, so they will be starting over in P19. Now, this is where we take a quick moment, folks, as we get the lobby reset and ready. Of course, we have to turn the collisions back on, and we have to adjust that so that we are race ready. While we're doing that, though, you can take a quick second to thank the great folks over at GT Omega supporting us and making these races possible. Going to have a quick word from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back to talk standings, quali review, and what we can expect from the race. And welcome back, folks. So, you join us back on the standings, and a bit of a reminder of what we can expect in terms of fireworks and in terms of the stakes heading into Silverstone. We've just seen an amazing quali with Quintino taking now a 5th pole position to his name alongside Zozo, and Toki getting 2nd and 3rd in perfect parallel to round out the top 3 spots in the qualifying session. But of course, the race is very much on here for the rest of the field, and we can see that in full. So only a single point splitting P1 to P2, P2 to P3. Even then, the margins are even tighter in some other places. You've got Laminin and Donovan both on 20 points. You've got Molnar and Toki kind of in their own pocket of the standings, but this gives them a chance to get some security with their positions. And in particular, Tilke's a very strong qualifying performance. It can work quite well in his teammate, and the Haas team can certainly make some waves with this one.
Yeah, both of the Hasses have been absolutely brilliant as well. But yes, with that 1 point awarded to Gabriel Quintino for pole, we go into this race with the top 2 level on points. So that is always incredible to see the margins being absolutely nothing like it was between the 2 Haas drivers as well. So that's going to be an interesting fight, as Zozo was suffering with a bit of lag, it turned out, in that session just gone by. So he'll be restarting his game, which is all fine because we've got this little break where we of course set the grid. So he'll be able to do that, and hopefully he'll be able to have those few issues sorted and race perfectly, and he'll need it with how close this championship will be going all the way from now straight up until the season final in Bahrain.
Yeah, and of course plenty to play for. At this point, it's the top 4, 5 really looking to sort of break away from the rest of the field. We can see the points discrepancy, and we can actually see that technically with the pole position, Quintino is going to be going into this race tied with the championship leaders. Zozo and himself are both technically on 56 points at this stage. They are going to be fighting neck and neck. They're right next to each other on track. They know what's at stake here, and this is a critical juncture for them, because this is where they need to really lock in their performances and start to actually try and break away from the other. There is a bit of a saving grace in the fact that the Hasses have got each other right beside, and they can potentially support each other a little bit in the race, but that depends on how much they actually operate as a unit. I know that they are both of the same community team, but there's also the concept of, well, here in PSGL, as much as we are pairing up into constructors, you are fighting for yourself. You are fighting as a driver in your own right. And we have seen times in the past where drivers have chosen to go for their own personal campaigns over a wider team effort because they don't necessarily have the same stakes for themselves.
Yeah, and we also have to consider Tulki's only 8 points of the championship lead. And at one point this season, that was the gap. We had a much bigger gap between first and second till Diego also had internet issues as well, which brought the championship battle back alive crazily as well, which really closed everyone up. Yeah, Tulki's only 8 points behind. He has his own Drivers' Championship to fight for. So yes, they're both going to be up there. They're both going to be scoring the points, but at the same time, they both also will be trying to fight for their own campaigns. They're both going to be trying to prove themselves and show their talent and try win this championship as well.
Yeah, and of course, around Silverstone, there is going to be a lot of battling. I'm expecting a lot heading down into Stowe. I'm expecting a lot of fighting going down the Wellington Straight, just coming out of Aintree, turn 5. And we are going to be watching very closely as the drivers are going to try their best, I think, to space themselves out. As in particular, those DRS zones can have a major effect on the race. If you can get a good line coming out of Copse Corner and into Maggots and Beckett's, you can just pit the DRS detection zone, which, say, a good complex before that, getting Brooklands and Luffield just right. You'll be able to get that breakaway, and that's what's going to start separating the packs, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Silverstone Racing, though, always unbelievable as well. I believe me and your first commentary as well here at PSGL together was at Silverstone, and we were treated to an amazing race as well. So hoping for more of the same. But yeah, the DRS strains are going to be critical. Of course, you'll get that little jockeying for position between first and second, switching positions lap after lap. That is normal, but then the situation becomes when a third or a fourth driver wants to get involved, and then throughout the rest of the pack, it's all dive bomb city, absolutely everywhere, as drivers try and get themselves as close as possible to the front of the field before the pit stop phase, or after the pit stop phase. It gets even more crazy, as the drivers know they've got to make moves. They want to fight for the win when it comes down to the 26th and final lap of the race. So wherever we look, it's going to be all action here in PSGL, and that is absolutely what we love of PSGL Racing. No matter what circuit we go to, Monaco was brilliant, but it was hard to overtake. It was a different challenge. Now we are here back at a circuit where we're just going to see non-stop overtaking.
Yeah, and that's sort of a testament to the individual nuances of the track. Monaco, as you said, its own value is in the qualifying sessions, in seeing the drivers push to the very limit lest they hit the wall, and also a little bit on the tyre strategy front, and you can see that really affect some races in cases that we've seen in the past. But here, Silverstone, this is going to be racing in a raw form. This is going to be on-track overtakes, on-track strategy, positioning, defensive driving, the whole works. We're going to see it all. Of course, we're going to have the race strategy as well, resource management, but this is also where we get to see that wheel-to-wheel action alongside that, and that's why, as always, a testament not just to the drivers out on track today, but everyone who supports them, the race engineers, everyone who helps with the testing and the dialing in of the setups, because those are so hard to sort of refine. Even just a single click on the differential can massively change the feel of the car at points. Primarily, you're going to be experimenting with that and the aero, but I gotta say, it's a whole team effort with a lot of these racers out on track, and just wanted to give a moment for all of the race engineers in the chat or who are out there supporting drivers today, regardless of if it's F3, F2, F4 and beyond. We see you, and we very much appreciate the work that you do. But with that little segment out of the way, we are going to be connecting up into the race in just a moment. So let us know in the chat as always. We've had qualifying, a brilliant one at that. So let us know who you want to see out on track, be at their best, who you're looking forward to watching out on the circuit, anyone that you're expecting to bring the heat or to really surprise us out on the course. It's all fair game here. So, of course, we always want to hear from you in the chat, and we always want to see the best racing that we can possibly find on F1 24. You want to keep it PSGL, and of course, we are now going trackside. So let's see what these drivers are going to show us out on track. Initial impressions, it's looking a little bit overcast, I gotta say.
Not really surprised, seeing as we're racing here in Britain as well. So don't be surprised if we do get a little bit of rain later on in the race. But at least for now, we're going to start off dry, and then we'll see what happens with that. And, well, it's always a very interesting question to see what's going to happen with the weather. And will it be another element added for these teams and drivers to consider as well, as we look down in the pit lane, and soon we'll be looking to those 5 red lights and getting another round here underway And this is going to be, as we mentioned, a critical round when it comes to the title fight, and especially for other drivers trying to get themselves involved. But other than that, I'm just looking forward to a shootout between them all. And here we go, it's about to begin.
We go 4, 5 red lights. The track is hot here at Silverstone, and it's going to be a great run out of the gate as it's all go, and immediately Tulki is going to go down the inside. He's going to hold that aggression heading into the first corner. He wants that dominance. He had the inside line, and he's not going to take no for an answer. Zorzo fighting alongside Van Ruijten for those initial spots. It's a big slide. That's going to be one of the RBs. That's JST. He's going to be turned around. It's pandemonium in the mid-pack as you see a cluster of cars being dropped completely out of the order. There's carbon fibre all over the circuit and a very tough start for some of them out on track. Harry Lai as well getting hit in that and involved. Luckily, it looks like he hasn't got any damage, but there is also penalties being strewn about. That's 10 seconds for Justin Aert. What a crazy start out there.
Absolutely wild stuff. Tulki though, getting himself into the lead, Quintino losing out as Donovan gets ahead of Tom 97, but immediately away from the start, it was all action and it was all chaos for the drivers in the field. Van Ruijten also moved up to third position, so you had one Haas going forward, one Haas going back, but can Lauri Tulki maintain that position with Quintino being dished out the toe all the way down towards Stowe corner, and they're all going to be looking for some moves in the background. That's Laminin thinking about a move to the inside, wasn't able to get there. You got Sasha Neeb, you got Linus Donovan on the soft carpet of tyres. Donovan, of course, who had the qualifying ban, trying to recover, and we're on board now with Tristan Derico up alongside Sasha Neeb, who's getting ahead on the soft carpet of tyres, most on the mediums. We've got 2 on the soft, and it was all chaos as we go on to lap number 2.
Yep, and this will be where the drivers are just fighting for some initial gains, fighting for any kind of position they can get to establish a foothold in the field to move forward. You don't want to be in that bottom 10, as you will have a significant chance of getting dropped off. As soon as one driver even makes a slight braking move, there's going to be a concertina effect, and you're going to see some drivers being dropped out of the DRS queue. It's going to be essential to hold that here at Silverstone with the 2 DRS zones through the 2 major straights. That can be several tenths of a second per lap when you combine that with some ERS deploy.
Indeed. Now it's all about thinking about the ERS battery settling in to this race as well. It's a critical element for the drivers to settle in, not to just go for the dive bombs that they may have been doing 1 lap ago as well. Right now it is still close and there is still opportunities for drivers to fight away by. We're on board with P4 right now. Diego Zorzo, who has been watching Danny Van Ruijten basically push Gabriel Quintino through. Now we've got DRS. Now we're getting to the overtaking once again. It's Quintino moving up to the lead. The question will be, though, can Danny Van Ruijten move up to second place? Had all the momentum, but didn't have the room to get by as we go down to Wales. So Quintino back over to the lead, and that will be a battle that will continue all the way through this race with the DRS, and it's getting very close and out of the race. JSD finds himself out of the race as Linus Donovan says the fastest lap, and we're battling down to Abbey Corner.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough one there for JST. He's going to be bowing out of the race. I think he was the sort of primary RB involved in the accident that we saw on lap 1. And when you have damage like that, you've got issues upon issues. You're going to see both himself and Pasquale Ranelli heading out of the session, which makes 2 retirements in lap 3. We're going to see a little bit of a peak there. That's Sasha Nee poking the nose through on Buba. As you can see, they're going to go toe-to-toe. Björklands, Luffield, they are not going to yield for one another. Buba having to go very narrow, but on the soft compound, Sasha needs to get this done alongside Linus, who is behind, and just trying to get those early gains before those Red Wolves give up. Remember, Silverstone, particularly on a certain corner of the car, is ruthlessly punishing on those tyres.
It absolutely is as well, as we make our way through Maggot and Beckett. So Sasha Neeb really wanting to get on with it at this stage. Here we go with Lauri Tulki pulling alongside, heading to the race lead. But this time, is Danny Van Ruijten able to take second place? The Alpine has emerged in front, and he has been able to go through. As we head back down to Wales, they'll all be back in a little bit of a straight line in that battle, but further back, definitely not the case with Sasha Neeb in 10th, Donovan, then Buba. They were all battling down to the braking zone there. So that was really close between all of them, but an easy switch as Gabriel Quintino loses the lead and falls down to third position. But that will be an element that they will need to contend with all the way, especially through these early stages where Diego is also waiting for his opportunity. Doesn't want to go for any risks. Doesn't want to make any contact at this stage with his rivals. He'll go for the opportunity when it is there. And let's see, is the opportunity going to be there for him to go to the inside this time around? Side by side between these two who have come into this race, tied in the championship, and they remain side by side. And can Zorza get on the power? Can he get ahead of his rival? Quintino's going to run him all the way out, wide to what he can. And Zorza is still side by side as we head down towards Cobb's Corner. A brilliant side by side battle between these two drivers with Quintino ahead.
What a squeeze there from Quintino, just about affording enough space so that Zorzo remains on track, but still testing the mettle of the Haas driver, testing the championship leader, almost as if to goad him on, to say that you've got that championship lead, now let's see you hang on to it, you've got to earn your stripes. And Quintino is not going to let it go by so easy. So he's in P3 now. He's going to get a challenge again. That's also heading down the inside as we are making our way through Stowe. You can almost see some of the mind games as well. We saw this time last lap. Zorzo peaked his car, snapped it to the left side, and then peeled back in. And there's a snap on the steering as he tries to correct a bit too much coming out of Vale. He's going to drop behind Reyes Imtiaz, and Diego is going to be dropping behind Laminen also before re-establishing his composure in 6th place. Look at the mind games. Look at how they're positioning the cars to try and bait each other into a bit of a poor strategic move.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, right before they went side by side, I did mention that he wasn't going to do anything wild at this stage. He did try and go all in to get past his rival. He's also running low on ERS. And after all of that, it has created some brawl behind. We've got Sammy Simeone going the long way around, and he's taking the position. He's getting ahead of Elikas there in the Ferrari. As we take a look at Reyes Imtiaz, who now needs to take the whole train with him and keep inside the 1 second of our top 3. You do not want to let the top 3 run away with this one. Linus Donovan has got ahead of Hari Lai. That's further back, and that is the battle for 10th position at this stage.
Well, Imtiaz in the danger zone, and I don't think he's got it because he was running out of battery there. And you can in fact see he hasn't got the DRS. He's going to be open season for Laminen up into P4 now. And at 1.4 seconds behind, you can see the top 3 have got a significant gap now. This is going to be huge, as now they have the means to run away. Torquay, Van Ruyten, Quintino, they all have a chance to make some major leaps on the field. But saying that, Laminen is going full push. He's not going to let that slide by any stretch of the imagination. He's already back to within 8/10.
Yep, he absolutely is indeed. He isn't going to let the gap go to 1 second. He wants to be a contender in this one. He wants to keep everyone as a contender in this one as well. He wants to make sure that he's in this battle for this leading train right now, as we see Sasha Neve dropping down a position, lurking further back. Where are the moves going to be? It's going to be Sasha Neve trying to once again fight her way through. Can he keep his foot in all the way around the outside? Once again, a close moment between two drivers. The Red Bulls are doing battle, and that is for 12th position as we see dropping down the order. And we've got Elikas off, and the safety car is deployed, and he's gone into the old pit lane entry there. So a dramatic moment as it was all going on. We had the Red Bulls battling, then we had Elikas going round, and lap number 6 is going to see the race neutralized due to the full course safety car.
Full court is out. Alekis is out of the session. It didn't look like he had terminal damage, but he crashed into the inside wall just coming out of Luffield and heading into Woodcote. And I'm not really sure what to make of that, to be honest with you. He's retired out on the track, and he hasn't got his car back in. So the full core is out. I think it's in part due to the carbon that was left on the course. And we can see so many of the top end of the field are going to be pitting in, likely for the hard compounded tyre, to sink the free pit stop and run all the way to the end of the race. You know who this has been beneficial for? For the soft runners. Donovan and Neeb, they've both run on the Red Wolves. They got what I'd argue is the perfect amount of tyre life out of those things. And now we are going to see them leverage that advantage. Also, and I'd say many others are going to be unfortunately double stacking. But this is the price you pay if you want to get the time save of the safety car.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a situation that the drivers find themselves in at that point of the race. Okay, so not everyone going for the hard compound of tyres. We've got the top 7 on the hards. We've got Sash and Eve going for the mediums. We've got Ryan Grubb going for the softs. Donovan and also we have, of course, Elica's AI continuing to run around. But that's also gone on the medium compound of tyres. So not everyone on the hards, but the majority of the field are on those white wall compound of tyres as we are now behind the safety car here at Silverstone as we'll wait for a race resumption soon as well. But yes, he's also in 7th position, about where he was at the same time, luckily for him. So he'll now look to recompose. A huge opportunity for him to recompose. It also looked like he was low on battery. He went all in to try and get past Gabriel Quintino, used a lot of battery, and then I'm also guessing earlier on in the race, he was definitely deploying that battery quite a bit. So now he's going to get a chance to recompose and try go from 7th on the restart.
Can't help but feel like that's a mistake, though. To not be on the hard compound is going to be asking for trouble when it comes to the final 5 laps of the race, especially for Ryan. He's going to be absolutely stuck out there. He's going to get to about 10 laps on those softs, and then they're going to go. So I do think that that is a mistake, and I would not be surprised to see those who aren't on the white walls head back in for another stop. It's not uncommon. We have seen it in the past where drivers will get given the wrong compounds. There will be a mistake, a little hiccup from the pit crew. But the mediums I could potentially see being stretched. The softs, no go. Absolutely not.
Yeah, you need a safety car in about another 7 laps for it to be ideal timing. So he is going to dive it into the pit lane. So exactly what you mentioned there as well, as we'll take it back to the tyre graphic for you as well, as we'll see them dive it into the pit lane. But yeah, we've now got them switching back after being given the wrong tyre. Which the softs were never going to last. You could already see they were stretched out by Sashanib and Linus Donovan, and they used the ideal tire life. So as we mentioned, the safety car came at the perfect timing for them. But yeah, we've still got a long way to go in this race, meaning that you wouldn't want to be on those soft compound tires.
I mean, saying that, though, the 3 that went into the pits have all gone out into medium instead of hard, so maybe they are going to try and chance it on the yellow compound. Maybe they're praying that the safety car will stay out for as long as possible. They can stretch it out to maybe the start of lap 9, as it seems to be going that way. Then we might just see them play a little bit of the tyre conservation game. There is plenty of life left in those tyres, even at that stage, but the pace you have to moderate very, very carefully. So I'm very curious to see how these drivers will handle it, and those back 3 now being dropped in position significantly. They'll bring up the gap, but they have, of course, sacrificed a lot in terms of track space, and that may come back to bite them come race start.
Yep, absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see. It will be interesting to see on this restart that is going to be coming our way as well, with the drivers at the back utilizing those mediums at this stage. We've got Donovan, Buber, and Justin Ayertz with a 10-second penalty at this stage, still to their name on lap number 8, about to go onto lap number 9. With we are currently still waiting for Justin Ayertz to get himself onto the back, as he is 9 seconds away. One of the drivers who did go for another pit stop. As we mentioned, he was one of the 3 that dived it into the pit lane.
And here we go. Looks like we're going out a bit more. We're going a bit more on that safety car. Spaced out just enough to, I think, stretch out for an additional lap. So really are going to be eking the most out of those mediums one way or another. It seems to be that way anyway. A little bit of trading at the back. Justin is going into the pits for yet another time. So this will be his 3rd stop under his belt right now. It really is just playing the juggling game, as that is going to be, I think, Balance AI is still out on track here and causing a little bit of issues for the rest of the field.
Yeah, absolutely as well. But another lap behind the safety car. I just announced wasn't able to catch up in time, and he'll go on the hard compound of tyres for him as we make our way then onto the Wellington straight, and they continue to weave as we should be getting the safety car in by the end of this lap. So yeah, racing is soon to come. Back your way after a little bit of an interruption to this one after we had Elekes that was round down on the old start-finish straight at the pit lane entry. But now it's going to be back to the Turkey, Rutin and Quintino battle out in front, with Laminin also not having the task of trying to close in a 1 second gap and trying to keep it in 1 second. He's now going to get an equal chance with charged up battery. So will Diego Zorzo in 7th place, which will be critical for him.
It's going to be a bit of a toss-up. I think we're going to see a lot of drivers go for that early dive, try and squeeze as much as possible, because Turkey is going to have control of the race heading into lap 10. And the important thing for him is he needs to absolutely nail that start if he wants to shake off the Alpine and the Aston. Safety car confirmed to be in this lap, so lap 10 is when we make our way forward once again. See, they are going to be all working to warm up those tyres. The hard compound being the hardest, I'd say, to get that temperature generated. If not on the surface, then definitely the core temps, which is what really keeps your tyres consistent. It's easy to scrub up and scuff up the outside, but if those cores on your tyres aren't hard worked, then you are going to struggle to keep consistent grip. Ooh, a little bit of a close call for Van Ruyten as Turkey is going to be going for the full push start. It kind of forces him back. And into lap 10, we are racing on the full greens once again. Great start from the Haas. Van Ruyten does recover from that close call. And Quintino is going to keep a consistent distance as they are going to allow the Alpine and the Haas maybe to fight a little bit heading into this first run. Simeone and Zorzo are going to be in the wake of Imtiaz as they are already challenging for positions.
Absolutely, Zorza already trying to recover. Has to think about the championship when he goes for risks like that. Further back, we've got Donovan making a move on Tom 97. Those two who had a lot of close moments 1 week ago in Monaco. And you've got Sasha Neeb now trying to go the long way around of Diego Zorza. That will be close on the exit as well. And we've got Simeone directly ahead of the pair. And right now, Zorza does not want to be attacked. That is the picture of the back of the Kicksabber watching right now. Going wide, Sashanib and holding on to the place. Diego Zorzo, who's in 7th, his teammate still with the lead by half a second at this stage, with Quintino in 3rd position as we head now down the hangar straight, and we see who is going to be pulling alongside and going for the moves. I think Zorzo is going to be under pressure once again, and you've got Sashanib going to the inside, and Sashanib is going to get ahead. So Zorzo down to P8.
Yeah, he's going to have to work harder if he wants to get those positions back up and he wants to get that championship back in his pocket and in his corner. He's going to make a move on Sashanib and make it quite decisively so, but he's on the hard, so he is going to be suffering a little bit of an initial pace disadvantage compared to the medium. Now, with the medium runners, I am going to somewhat redact my previous points, as it's been pointing out that the tyre degradation may be not as aggressive as one might assume initially, so the mediums might be a lot more viable of a choice, especially considering that we are near halfway through the race and there is still time for the drivers to conserve, to push when necessary, but not go full aggression to keep those temperatures under control. Zorzo and Donovan going to be the proof in concept for this, as they're both on different tyres. Of course, the early advantage, but you can see that Donovan isn't going with 110% aggression here. He's keeping the movements still quite smooth, quite consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. He is indeed, as we see Quintino right on the back of Danny Van Ruyten, not having the best few couple of corners. And the Aston Martin momentarily using a bit of ERS, and they'll both be gaining to Turkey. We won't see anything in terms of changing this time around at the front. But Sasha Neeb and Diego Zorzo, the never-ending story between those two drivers, sees the Williams back ahead, and Zorzo having to look in his mirrors. You've got Tristan Debecourt and also Tom 97 directly behind him, so it's not the restart that Zorzo wanted. He would have wanted to be attacking the drivers in front. He was doing that on Simeone, but once again he found himself in a battle and it didn't work out for him, and it's now meant he's on the back foot once more.
Well, don't forget, any fighting that's happening between Nieb and Zorzo is just going to reel in the Mercedes and the Red Bull behind him even closer, as Derbicourt and Tom97 are waiting in the wings, almost as if they are anticipating a kind of mistake or anticipating a move to be made that will open up a crucial window of opportunity. Ryan Grob, of course, having that hiccup on the softs earlier and going in for the extra stop is going to be P14, but he's on the back of Tonelato and putting some serious pace down.
Yep, absolutely, as we head down once more to Cop's corner, and you can see how close Danny Van Rooten is getting onto the back of Larry Chulke half a second last time around. Definitely much more closer this time around between these drivers as we head now onto the hangar straight, and surely we're going to get a switch this time around, gaining with DRS, pulling alongside, pulling ahead and taking the place. Wait for the Aston Martin who's also going to try and go through, and Quintino is going to move up to second position as well, and Thomas Laminin just sitting in behind and getting to watch this battle play out until he also will try and get involved in a couple of laps time.
Tolki is going to be, of course, a little bit annoyed at that move, but he has still got plenty of time to pull it back. Quintino and Van Rooten are going to have a similar position and are going to be fighting back and forth all the same. So really, the strategy at this point becomes having that back and forth, leapfrogging one another to try and push away the likes of Donovan, Imtiaz, Laminin, who are trying to close that gap to make some moves on the podium and see if they can start to get a bit of a breakaway. See a couple of the cars in the mid-pack challenging each other for some spots. You see Alekis, Grob, all going to be coming to blows as Tonelato is going to peek the nose in, almost looking like it could have gone 3 wide for a split second there, but the Alpine chooses to back off. He doesn't want to get into any dangerous positions he can't get himself out of.
Indeed, very close stuff through the first sector, going into the second sector for these drivers, and now we're going to be heading right through into the third sector as well on lap number 13 as we go half race distance, but I think we're getting set for some more changes at the front, and this time Larry Chulke gonna go straight for the race lead, 3 wide and close to contact between the 3 of them, and Gabriel Quintino not getting the best of exits. And now this is the opportunity for Thomas Laminin to go late on the brakes. He's passed one. Can he get past Quintino? A very close moment as we went into club, and now as we accelerate the power, who's gonna be in third position? Quintino's got through, but he's lost a 1 second gap to Danny Van Rooten, and it's gone wild as we head down on lap number 14 to Abbey Corner. It's Van Rooten, then Quintino, then it's Laminin ahead of Tolki, Ray Imtiaz in 5th, as Sammy Simeone has gained a couple of places and then lost a couple of places. He's down to P10.
Yeah, he's had a major drop. I think he had a bit of an altercation with one of the drivers above, and it has seen them drop like a stone. You see, it's so squished together. P6 through to P10 is really anyone's game here. As you see, 2 wide, almost 3, heading into Brooklands, heading through Luffield, side by side. Up ahead, it's Nieb and Donovan once again coming to blows. And then further up ahead, of course, we saw Laminin going for the decisive move, trying to make the double. Now, Tolki I can understand, but Quintino was already exiting Vale. That was a bit optimistic there from the McLaren, and I don't think that was the wisest one to go for. Either way, it did upset the order. There was a bit of a bump on the back of Quintino, and Tolki, in fact, had a wobble coming out through into club that he saw himself losing a significant amount of time over. He's, in fact, almost in the danger zone of dropping out the DRS, very similar to what we saw a few laps in. This time, Laminin is on the right side of that DRS split. That could happen in a couple of laps' time.
So, crazy stuff last time around when we made our way through this part of the circuit, and further back it's going to continue as we go on to the Hamilton Straight with Leonardo Tonelato trying to go on the attack. That's Grob just ahead of Debacourt as we head down to Tower 1. Tonelato is going to also make up a place. He's up to 12th position, looking from the back now. It's going to get tight once again. Debacourt trying to fight back. Tonelato trying to maintain the place that he just gained a few moments ago. Elekest also in the mix, and who's going to have the place when they apply the power? Further back is the Ferrari, who I believe is inching ahead. Tonelato is going to get the DRS, so will Elekest, but it's all going to be about who can deploy the battery. Who can be later on the brakes? As we take a look at some of the battling. Further up in front, it was Donovan versus Sashanib. Now it's Ray's Imtiaz also trying to get in the mix, and he's going to be directly in behind as we see the slipstream start for Sashanib down towards Cop's corner, and it looks like he'll sit in behind at this stage. But a 10th in it for the lead. It's Van Rooten ahead of Quintino with Laminin as well. It's getting so close wherever we look in the field.
Seeing a major inversion of the championship as well, because of course you've got Imtiaz and Zorzo, P7 and P9. This is going to take a massive hit in terms of their championship position, especially when you've got Quintino, who, reminder, is on equal points heading into this race following the pole position. This could see a major upset in the championship and the narrative really start to switch around. Quintino has got that consistent run. He's got the momentum coming out of Monaco. And it is looking like a real tour de force. With Van Rooyen and Laminin on either side. Two very competent and quick drivers too. This is going to be quite an interesting final 10 laps.
6 races done. We're in the 7th race now as well, as we get the final 6 races going to crown a champion as well. And it seems like we will be heading all the way down to Bahrain. And it's a retirement for Justin Ayert. And Justin Ayert's bad luck this season will continue, and that might explain why Justin Ayert is out of the race. You had Harry Lai was also off, and you could just see Justin Ayert to the left of picture a few moments ago as well, as we take a look back at the live action.
Well, notice under no safety car this time. He was off the track to enough of an extent where the stewards, I guess, didn't feel the need to call it out and could safely haul the car off track while under green flag conditions. So that is going to be a 3rd retirement, this time with terminal damage, and unfortunately is going to be curtains for his race there. Actually, I do believe it might be a pit entry rather than a terminal damage incident, unless my telemetry readout is getting a little bit confused here. We also saw a bit earlier Tom97. Now, he had a bit of an off heading through Sector 1 and hasn't really been able to make up the time since then. So he's stuck down near the bottom, but up at the top, Donovan and Neeb are both going highly aggressive here. Donovan in particular, having served that quali ban, is going to be making a statement here. They're currently sat in P5. Neeb's not going to let that one happen lightly, almost skipping halfway into the air. That's going to be an opening for Imtiaz. He doesn't have the chance to go for it in full, as Neeb and Donovan are fighting tooth and nail for the spot.
They absolutely are indeed, as we once again make our way down to Brooklands corner, but we're getting so many close moments heading onto the Hamilton straight as well. Every time around to the final few corners there, they all do battle, and then of course the road opens up down to the farm section as well, and we take a look at the McLaren of Ryan Grob just pulling out of the slipstream momentarily. Isn't going to risk it down to Cobb's corner, but he is following in close proximity, and he will try go on an attack and punish Diego Zorzo even more in terms of this championship battle, which Diego Zorzo really needs to get on with it, but it's turning out to be a horror show so far for him. And will the McLaren pull out and go for the move as we head down to Stowe? You'll have a look. Wasn't able to go for it as Sashin, even Linus Donovan. That story definitely continues on the circuit, and this time inching ahead is going to be Sasha Neeb, and keeping the place further back was Diego Zorzo, but it's still close. Ryan Gobb's got the inside line, and are we going to see another switch between the two of them as we make our way on to lap number 18 with these two? And it's a switch of position. Diego Zorzo finds himself down to 10th, and moving up is Ryan Gobb.
It's going to be a bit of a disaster scenario, as that is going to be a serious off. And I believe that was contact between himself and Tonelato. They both go off the track. In fact, you can see a significant amount of the brake markers being strewn across the course. And this is truly a worst case scenario for Zorzo. He's got his championship rival, his equal, currently leading the race. And right now, he's not even in contention for a single point. This has gone from bad to worse. He's missing an end plate, and this has certainly turned into a race to forget here for the Haas. Hopefully his teammate Tilke can salvage for the Haas outfit, but it's not looking the best for him, and this championship is certainly going to invert in a big way. But the Haas is also losing an end plate up at the top as well. So, in fact, they've lost opposite end plates.
Yeah, well, it seems like lots have been happening to the Hasses. Exact same time earlier on in the qualifying session as well. And Danny Van Rooten had a look, and did go for the move onto Miss Laminin. And it's going to be close stuff as the Alpine runs wide and doesn't open the door for Larry Tulke, who is going to try and get involved in the battle for the final spot on the rostrum. He doesn't want to risk it, as he, of course, has already seen what's happened to his teammate a lap ago at this part of the circuit. He'll sit in behind, but he has closed in absolutely to be a contender for the final few spots on the podium and for the race win, with Quintino, who's had control 0.6 of a second, had control from what we've seen so far in the race. But with the DRS, everyone else will be closing back in. It was getting really close in the background. That was Buba trying to defend from Debecourt, and contact between the two of them, and that's Debecourt losing a bit of his front wing, and Tornolato trying to make his way through. He's already been involved in some contact today, and Tornolato will get by, but disappointment there for Tristan Debecourt.
Looking like a bit of a warpath for Derbicourt there. He makes serious contact with Bubar, loses an end plate, and then goes into the side of Tonelato as well. So, not sure what's going on with the Mercedes there, or whether it's a case of camera perspective, not quite telling the full story. We do know now is that he's in P13, and he's going to be out of the points contention for now. We look up to the further, you can see Sashanib has gone for a retake on Larry Tulke. He's going for the 4th position. Donovan is going to be waiting in the wings, and Laminen is going to be holding firm in P2. Now, that McLaren is no stranger to getting the elbows out. We've seen he can be very aggressive. We saw that double move attempt heading into this very corner, or just a couple of corners ago, and how that ended up. But you see, Van Rooyen is going to challenge for the position, and we're going to see how the McLaren car responds here. But a lot into the move, clearly. The recharge lights are on. Of course, this is going to be the DRS being open for them both. Is he going to go hyper-aggressive here, or is he going to peel back? Looks like he's biding his time. Getting very close contact with the diffuser of that A524. And now making their way round for what will soon be the last few laps. Laminen wants that P2 back, and he's not going to stop until he gets it. 4th retirement coming in. That's going to be Harry Lai. Unfortunate for him there, as I do believe he was filling in for this race and putting in a very good impression up until this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good impression for him as well. When he came in as a reserve driver, has not had many of those chances this season. And does Linus Donovan have a chance to make the move when we head down to Stowe? You could see that he was closing in all the way on Larry Tulke, who's of course lost out to Sashanib as we head back down towards Wales, and they all concertina up as we head into the braking zone. But right now we are on for a huge shift in this championship. Imtiaz in 7th, Dorzo not scoring, Quintino in 1st place as well. This could be a huge moment. We said it was going to be a huge moment when it came to the championship fight, and it definitely could have huge implications going into the next few races, with Diego Zorzo needing some extraordinary performances and hoping for Quintino to also not have the best few races, which with the circuits that we're heading to, absolutely anything is possible as well. And in the background, we had Linus Donovan defending from Imtiaz, who wasn't able to make the move.
Well, Imtiaz is certainly going to be itching to make his way up the field. He's going to be under threat from Simeone in the Kick Sauber, and puts on a good defense, but he needs to start making those upward moves. Maybe ride a little bit on the coattails of Donovan as he's chasing Larry Tulke down. He can use his opponents to his advantage. They're putting pressure on one another. They're not driving the ideal racing line, and that could be the ticket to getting him back further up this order and exploit the opportunity that is Zorzo down in P13.
Indeed. Back down the straight we go. And here we go with Reza Imtiaz, who will be trying to defend. And there wasn't really a proper attack this time around by Simeone. As of course they all had DRS. It's all about whether you can deploy some of the battery. And you don't always want to waste that battery. You want to make sure that you have some in play for the final stages, which we're heading absolutely into now as well. As Imtiaz over the line, ahead of Simeone. Grob also is going to be close in the McLaren, and he was pushing the kickstabber through, and that is going to give the encouragement to Simeone to send a lunge up the inside line. Can Simeone get through? While Grob is going to be setting up the exit, hoping to be in contention when we get on the power, and it's going to be Sammy Simeone ahead of Reyes Imtiaz, who has lost out, and immediately he's going to have Ryan Grob for company as well. The McLaren driver to the inside, and down to 9th position with his teammate in behind is Reyes Imtiaz.
Elekes Imtiaz reunited, but not in the conditions that they'd otherwise like. P9, P10, barely within the points, and not going to be a position that is going to be beneficial for their wider championship drive. We jump up to the top. We can see beautiful aerial shot, just illustrating the kind of space that Quintino's managed to pull out on the rest of the podium and the rest of the top end. Van Ruyten and Laminen have come to blows a couple of times over the course of this past few laps, but all of this fighting has just lended a free hand to Quintino, and even without the DRS, he's proven to be a driver that can control a race from that position. He is looking very comfortable. The only question is, how far are those two behind him willing to go to close that gap and to take the fight to him as we now start lap 23.
On to lap number 23. We now head with the race still in the balance. Quintino's been holding that position for now, but Van Ruyten's going to be in contention, and of course he'll bring Thomas Laminen in with him. The top two, that is the order they finished. That is the order they finished in Canada. Van Ruyten will want to strike back, and this time he'll want to be the lead driver. As we see further back, that's a switch as Ryan Grob is able to make the move and get by as well, slightly deep into the complex, as these guys will try stick inside the 1 second of the top 6 that are directly in front as well, as having that DRS is critical, even if it's just DRS, and even if you are at the 7/10 mark, it keeps the drivers behind you at a distance, meaning that you're under less pressure. So that will be critical for all of the remaining laps. As you take a look from the back of Van Ruyten, Laminen tucking right up to the back, and Sasha Neve also in contention as well.
See him teeing up for potential moves, but playing the mind games a little bit with Van Ruyten. He knows that to get a move here would just leave him open to a retake in the final laps. So he's opting to stay back. He's not going to go for it right now, because he'll have a chance later, and make sure that if he's going to get this P2 or even this P1, then there's not going to be any chance for retaliation before the checkered flag comes in. Final couple of laps are always crucial, and I sometimes like to say that in this case, if you've got a 26-lap race, you've got 24 laps of prep and then 2 laps of actual decisive racing and moves. Sasha Neeb is going to be the first to drop the domino as they fire in through the inside of the loop and into Aintree, but not going to be materializing a move out of it. The statement has been made, but no major changes are happening as of yet.
Absolutely no changes as of yet. They've all had the opportunity to be large in the mirrors, and the driver that has only been in the points once this season, Sasha Neve, wants to get on the podium, wants to even take the win, and all of those possibilities are definitely there with the final few laps coming our way. About to go on to the penultimate lap of the race. Danny Van Ruyten's had the 6/10, has had the 7/10 gap. So does Thomas Laminen risk it? Does he try and make a move as well? You can see Sasha Neve still with a good chunk of ERS to deploy and also battle with in these final few laps. This is going to be an interesting end as they do battle with an 11-car train as it stands for this leading group. And here is the group that isn't in the battle for the win, and it will hurt for Diego Zorza to hear those words and hear his name not being in that group battling for the win. He's instead battling right now for the last few places in this order, and it will be a day to forget for him in the championship.
You know, I'd say that a lot of it can be attributed to him nursing a missing end plate, but look at Tulki. He's holding his own in P5, and he's in the exact same scenario. So unless he's got some unseen damage, some visual damage, or damage that isn't going to be apparent, like the floor or the rear, I'm struggling to see how this is working out for him, and he could very well potentially finish this one in last, which isn't just a blow to the points. That's a blow to the confidence that is going to take a bit more recovery time. Penultimate lap, however, is going to be a big one for this set of drivers, this quartet up at the front, as Sasha Neeb is going to be waiting in the wings. Tulki holding his own as well, making sure he doesn't get away, but this is where the traps are going to be well and truly set. Notice Van Ruyten on the recharge. A little bit of closing in from Laminen. No major move yet, but watch this final lap as they are all going to be waiting for this.
Here we go then, about to go on to the 26th and final lap here at Silverstone with an 11 car battle for the lead, but it's been Gabriel Quintino who's had the opportunity all the way through. And we have got Elikos is going to be disqualified. Sasha Neeb though, look at this moment on the circuit. There's going to be a huge opportunity for Donovan now to go to the inside as Elikos is disqualified all over the road for the Williams of Sasha Neeb. And it was such a close moment, and spinning round is Laurie Tulki. The other Haas who found himself with a damaged end plate is now going to find himself spinning round with Quintino now ahead of Danny Van Ruyten, ahead of Thomas Laminen. It's going to now be reduced to a 3-car battle at the front of the field after it all went wild in the battle for 4th position. It's going to see Sasha Neeb ahead of Donovan, who has a penalty to his name, then Simeone, Reyes Imtiaz, just hoping to pick up the points for the championship as we head down to Cobb's Corner, and Danny Van Ruyten, who's had a big gap by PSGL standards to Gabriel Quintino so far in the last few laps, has closed it in when he needs to, and the gap is 3/10 as we go through Maggots and Beckett, and there's going to be a huge opportunity. He'll get the DRS. The McLaren of Thomas Laminen will also be in contention as well. They'll both be gaining on Gabriel Quintino. Is this the moment for Danny Van Ruyten to take the lead? He's prepared to risk it the long way round. Quintino holds it. He runs out wide. Is it going to be a battle down towards Wales? Van Ruyten's going to close in once again. Once again looks to the outside line. It's so close. Quintino's defended it, and it's been an absolute masterclass by Gabriel Quintino, who crosses the line to win. It's side by side on the line for 2nd place, and it's Laminen ahead of Van Ruyten, and Van Ruyten challenging for the win drops down to 3rd position, but a brilliant last lap which sees Gabriel Quintino take another win this season and extend his championship lead.
What a final lap and final run there. You can see them all trying to gauge one another. And unfortunate for some, we saw Tulki go for the aggression, try to make the push and make it work. In the end, he was spun round, and that is going to see him drop all the way down into the double digits. And the podium is set. Quintino twice on the trot, 2 poles, and now 2 wins. And quality racing all around. You can see 1st position to 1st, with Laminen making quite an ascension from 8th into 2nd. Van Ruyten 4th into 3rd, and that is your podium here at Silverstone. But not to be outdone, Simeone from P14 into P4. That's a 10-place gain. 11 places gained for Sasha Neeb. And then you have Reyes Imtiaz, Ryan Grob, Leonardo Tonelato, Larry Tulki, and Diego Zorzo making your top 10. With Tom 97, Tristan Derbicourt, Bubar, Linus Donovan, unfortunately dropping down, and then the rest of the field, who unfortunately did not finish. Harry Lai getting the fastest lap, but being our last retiree out towards the end of the session, with Justin Ertz, Pasquale Ranelli, JST, and then Balint Alekes. Unfortunately, I think it was his AI, when he disconnected from the session, did not swap him onto a fresh compound. And maybe he didn't realise until it was too late. So he got disqualified for falling afoul of the 2 compound rule. And that is where we close things here for the race. Hopefully we will get a chance to talk to our drivers for some interviews. But I gotta say, I'm reeling a little bit from that, because that was an intense finish.
Well, when we come to Silverstone, I don't think we expect anything else in PSGL. It always manages to deliver some extraordinary battling all the way till the end. But Quintino, when we had 2 DRS zones, when you would have been being slipstreamed all the way by Laminen and by Danny Van Ruyten, kept himself up in 1st and defended it brilliantly at all times, at every corner. So brilliant stuff by Quintino, a deserved winner, brilliant taking pole earlier on. a few moments ago as well today, and then converting it into the race win. And usually you do see lots of switching, lots of changing in the near the final stages of the race, but Quintino just kept the gap at 7/10, 6/10, meaning there wasn't even an opportunity for drivers like Laminin or Van Rooten to go on that charge. So just a brilliantly controlled race like it was a week ago in Monaco.
Yep, and of course we will see if any drivers are available to have a quick chat to us in the commentary box. But it's going to be a race to remember. Now, of course, it goes without saying, congratulations to all of the drivers, because everyone did bring their A game and they did fight hard out there in tonight's running. And this does set themselves up very well heading into Zandvoort. But we'll talk about that in a little second. I'm very excited to see how this shakes up the standings. Quintino is unequivocally now the leader of F3 PC and is going to be a tough act to follow heading into the later rounds.
Absolutely will be. Gabriel Quintino is going to be really the man to beat. Incredible in qualifying. That is where we were always seeing it be going Gabriel Quintino's way. Now the races, he's starting to take control of those. He's just becoming the king of this tier at this stage, is Gabriel Quintino. So it's going to take some beating for him.
And we'll hopefully see where the other drivers are coming in. But we have got Quintino waiting. So let's bring him in and let's have a bit of a chat. So we're going to bring him in now. Quintino, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Welcome back. Oh, it's almost like it was yesterday that we saw you in the commentary box. And you've done a absolute mirror image of your performance out there in Monaco. So tell me, different environment, Silverstone. How are you feeling?
I felt good actually today. Quali was. I didn't felt good in quali, to be fair. I mean, my three laps didn't felt that good, to be fair. Especially the last one. I was going for point 2, but I got real lucky in the last corner, so I literally lost like a 10th, let's say. It could have been a 2, but yeah, it was full, so I was happy. And yeah, in the race, I think it was well managed, of course. The stint on the medium, I didn't feel like it was, that good, I would say, because I didn't, get going at the weight that I've liked, basically. But yeah, but on the stint of the hard, yeah, the car was flying. I mean, I don't know what was happening to Danny. I don't know if he wanted to save battery until the end, but like I could pull like the last 5 to 10 laps, let's say. When I got in front, I could like pull easily like 3-4 tenths in the middle sector, going exiting chapel. So yeah, and then at the end was just enough, to hold him off and yeah, take the win. So yeah, very very happy with it.
And of course, you got into that early position, getting into first, and to be fair, you were fighting towards the front for a significant chunk of the race. So, did you have a particular strategy heading into today's race, or was it a very much see how you go? Because especially with the safety car, that would have changed things.
To be fair, I did not have any strategy, going for today. I was like, let's see what happens. Of course it's Silverstone, so all the grid itself is pretty close. So yeah, I mean anything could have happened. So I was like, yeah, let's see how it goes. It's going all to depend, on the circumstances and how I deal with it. So yeah, and then of course the safety car, yeah, it kind of mixed up the order a little bit, let's say, but yeah, then afterwards I think I felt very comfortable on the hard. I could pull away off that of the guys behind him. And yeah, I think that was a pretty good race, let's say, especially on the stint on the hard. So yeah.
Oh, and a final question from me before I hand it over to Omi. Was two races on the trot, win plus pole position, and now 5 out of 7 races you've got a pole position into boot. So we'll see, very strong qualifier. That much is under zero question. But how are you feeling about Zandvoort and Jeddah coming up?
Zandvoort, to be fair, I haven't done a single lap on Zandvoort this game, so it's going to be interesting. Luckily, I have WR on Monday on Zandvoort as well, so that could be a very good test race for here. And yeah, Jeddah is one of my strongest trackers, I would say, but I don't know. I mean, it's Jeddah. I mean, anything could happen. It's a street circuit. Safety car can happen. It's very difficult to break away from DRS. So yeah, I'm not going to get my hopes high up. So yeah, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to it as well. But Omi, I'm going to hand it over to you for any further questions. I'm all done.
Brilliant stuff. Well, first of all, congratulations on what was a brilliant win. When it comes to in the races, you of course had Reyes Imtiaz, who was battling for the low-level points, and then there was a big moment for Diego Zorza, which saw him fall out of the points. So how much are you thinking about your championship contenders, or are you thinking about them at all during the race and keeping a track of their progress, possibly with your engineer?
Yeah, I mean, I had, of course, Franchi as my engineer. Shout out to him. All the guys at the of course, supporting me as well. Yeah, he was on like, okay, he was keeping, me informed about, the situation about Reyes, Diego, and, and I think it was Larry as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just like, of course they are way behind, so basically normally it's going to fall into my advantage, when it came to the championship. So I was like, yeah. The only thing that was on my mind was like, yeah, okay, let's don't take any risk then. If I don't win today, fine. That's why if Daniel was a little bit closer to me, going to that last lap, I think I wouldn't really even fight. I wouldn't even like fight at all because like he was because I didn't want to take any risk. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't really worth it. So yeah, I mean, of course, I had, of course, shout out Frenchie again, for the brilliant job as well, trying to keep me informed, about what was going on the race. But yeah, for the rest of the championship, to be fair, I think, I think I'm on a good spot right now, but I don't want to get my hopes up. Of course, we have, I think it's 5 races left, so yeah, let's see how it goes. I mean, anything can happen, and now let's see what we can do. Of course, I mean, for me, to be fair, I'm just going to try to do the same job as always. Just try to go there and practice as much as I can, and hopefully work with the F2 guys as well, and then yeah, we can have a really good strong end to the season.
Yeah, indeed. So brilliant stuff by you. Congratulations to you, of course, and your brilliant team as well that have got you there. So congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you, and maybe we can have you in the commentary box again next week if you get on the podium. We'll get a win.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
There you go, folks. So that is, of course, going to be Gabriel Quintino, our new championship leader coming out of that race. And we have, of course, much more of the season to look forward to. Next week, we head to a prestigious place. And recently we announced to have an extension for future F1 calendars. So always nice to see. But it's going to be Zandvoort. Of course, it's a roller coaster more than it is a track with some of those cambered corners. Get some real aggressive running coming from some of the drivers, and you can really take some serious speed with some of those turns. But that and more is yet to come. Stick with us as we are going to be jumping straight to F2 with the race just starting now. We'll catch it just in time, but of course, thank you from the both of us here at PCF3. Stick around for PCF2 after the outro, and from myself and Omi, we'll see you both in the F2 chat and next week out. Zandvoort. Take care, everyone. Thank you as always for watching, and goodbye.